It's the second season of the Magical Mommy Monday podcast. Jen and Angela are two moms raised on Disney magic, figuring out parenthood one day, one milestone, and sometimes one meltdown at a time. Thanks for listening and enjoy this week's new episode.
Everyone, I'm Angela Dahlgren. Welcome to the Gray Area. I'm here with my co-host, Jen Snyder.
Hello.
If you don't know, we also co-host another podcast together called Magical Mommy Monday. We talk about everything mom life, the good, the bad, the ugly, with a little bit of Disney sprinkled in. Okay, so I had a question for you before we went live, but then we went live. So
Okay, sure.
When we were promoting this, did we actually say what we were going to talk about? I mean, obviously Grey's Anatomy, but did we talk about that this was the pilot? Did we prep people to watch the pilot?
I think I said the kickoff to a brand new series where we discuss the entire Grey's Anatomy series, something like that. I don't know that I. Yeah,
because Jen did the amazing promo and advertising for this. I edited Monday's podcast. So I was very hands off with this. And then I realized should we have told people to watch the pilot? I don't know. Do we warn them? Is that a spoiler? I don't know.
Well, and I was talking to our Disney community friend at Pixie Dust PhD here on YouTube and on Twitter and on Instagram, as we call her, Dr. Jacqueline. And she was saying, will you have something that posts, hey, if you want to join Jen and Angela, watch episodes 2 through 5 of Grey's Anatomy for the, I was like, we don't, but we're going to now. I love that. So we welcome all ideas.
So why are we doing this?
It's an excellent question. Well, you're obsessed.
I am.
And anytime you would say, I think for a little bit, I kind of let it go. I'm like, I'm not going to tell her that I never watched Grey's Anatomy. I'm just going to go with it. Yeah, no, totally. Obviously, you're watching Grey's again. Of course. Okay.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. And then at some point I dropped it. I've actually never watched Grey's Anatomy. And you were like, what?
Wait, what? I'm actually, shocked as I was, I'm actually really excited for this because all of the cliffhangers, all of the really crazy things that happen, I've never gotten to see someone's reaction because I've just seen this happen so many times. Yeah. So all of the jaw-dropping moments, okay, I've seen that 45 times. I still cry on certain episodes, but still.
Right.
So I am very excited to see it from a newbie's point of view.
Yeah, totally.
So this will be fun.
I'm also super excited for it to be happening on your YouTube page, which I just think is an amazing place to be. And so and so many people love what is on your YouTube. And I just think this is a great way to kick off and get the ball rolling for future content that is going to be amazing, because all of your content is always amazing. So if you love it here on Angela's YouTube page, please let her know that you want to see more.
So I feel like we talked about why we were starting this or how it got started on a podcast, but I was so excited for this that I barely remember now. I just remember the idea stuck during a TV show podcast episode.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Our guilty pleasures, maybe.
Yeah. When we were talking about Christmas.
Yeah.
Shows.
Right. And here we are. It's kind of like when we were writing the Haunted Mansion and we were like, should we do a mommy podcast? And then we did it. And then we were like, oh my God, you've never seen Grey's? We should do a podcast where we watch Grey's and review it. And here we are.
What's great is we've had these ideas and instead of just being oh, they could never happen, we have made them come to fruition.
Boom.
Yes.
Just like that.
Good for us.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the pilot today. And in between, I'm going to share some Grey's Anatomy behind the scene facts with you. I don't know
why
how
happy you are.
I'm a disc jockey right now. I am so excited. Like, if I know a lot about Disney and makeup and I don't know, something else, I know just as much about Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
So that knowledge is really going to take me places in life.
I'm so happy for you that we're here.
Thank you so much. Okay. So let's get started.
Okay.
Episode 1. It's the pilot. It is A Hard Day's Night. Fun fact. All of the episodes, except for one in 16 seasons, are all the titles of songs.
Oh, that is a fun fact.
I am not lying. Okay.
I believe you 1,000%. And I love that about it. You know what? That just gave it a point for me. Not that I had taken any points away, but that gave it a point for me.
The show was also created by Shonda Rhimes. I feel like a lot of people know that, but I feel like she also like helped write The Princess Diary and like co-produced or something to do with the Whitney Houston Cinderella.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so she has written so many shows. She's doing something with Netflix right now. Originally, the show wasn't called Grey's Anatomy. It was going to be called like something, then Complications, and they're like, that's boring. So then they settled on Grey's Anatomy, and that's actually the name of a real medical textbook, but with an AY instead of an EY.
Right. Yeah. Twist.
I know. I have a lot to share on this, clearly.
I'm loving the fun facts. I love a good fun fact.
I do too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jen, you would not answer this question earlier.
No, I did not.
You made me wait.
Yeah, I don't even know why you're trying to start a conversation about the show via text. Hello, that's why we're here.
I don't do surprises because I'm too impatient.
I'm very meta. Is that a proper use of the word meta?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. Stuffers will tell us.
Yeah.
Very rarely use meta correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you think of the first episode? Were you like, this is something I could get into? Or were you like, I'm only doing this because Angela wants me to?
I mean, I would do it regardless because you wanted me to. But no, I watched it along with, as many of you know him as, Mr. Snidillo. He watched it with me. And the whole time he was just like, how have you never watched this show? This is so your show. Like this is right up your alley. I don't understand how you never got into this. And I think I probably just never got it in the first season. So then after that, I was like, I don't know.
It's too deep. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, how many years old now? Was that 2005 did it start?
I don't do math, but like we're 16 seasons in.
Right.
16 or 17, yeah. So
somewhere around there. Yeah. I was living in Orlando at the time. But so I just never got into it. Anyway, but yes, it is very up my alley. So no, this will not be a like, I have to watch it because Angela wants me to.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I have also been privy to other medical shows. I have watched House. Currently, I think my current medical show would be The Good Doctor. I have done some others along the way. So it's not out of character for me whatsoever. Plus, there's like a rom-com, not as much on the com, but a romantic thing in like talk shows and other things of them promoting Grey's Anatomy. So like I'm familiar with them throughout the years. So then to go back to the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, you guys are babies. So I don't know that I have a favorite character yet because I'm feeling them all out. New. Like I can't. I'm a New Yorker. I can't like jump into a new friend already. So like I really gotta like keep reading them and see the vibes I'm getting and like really feel them out more.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. Well, let's kind of hash out the episode.
Yeah.
So the main character, who the show is named after, is Meredith Grey.
Yes.
And she wakes up in her house on the floor from a one-night stand with a man who we know is Patrick Dempsey. And she's like, dude, you have to leave. I'm going to be late for my first day of work. And he's like, okay, bye. And then she goes to her first day of work, which it turns out she's a surgical intern at a hospital. And so the show is about these surgical interns and just like the ins and outs of daily life, you know, for all the docs. And so her first case is a girl who's having a seizure. And so she's kind of taking care of her. But the 5 main characters for the interns are Izzy Stevens, who's like this bubbly blonde, George O'Malley, who's just like the lovable, sweet kid, Alex Karev, who's not very nice, kind of a D-bag, Christina Yang, who's a badass and brilliant, and then Meredith Grey, who is the main character. So I give you 5 people to choose from.
Yeah.
So who are we vibing with right now?
I don't know. I'm feeling for Meredith just because she's coming in where everyone has these assumptions about her, which is only going to have her work harder to prove she can do it, and it's like on her own terms and she's capable, and it's not just because her mom was a doctor, so like she's going to need to be stepping up more. And I feel for her with all the judgments, but I also feel for the others going, who's this chick? Really? It's who you know. Your mom's a doctor. Obviously you're here. Great. Now do we even stand a chance? I do like Christina. And I feel like I have fuzzy memories. Like I probably have come across clips of the show throughout the year. So I feel like I know there's a lot with Izzy and George along the way. So I'm interested to see more from them because you don't see a ton from them in the first episode. George, a little bit more. And I felt horrible for him because he just like had to do the worst thing ever on his first day on the job pretty much. And so that made me really sad. Yeah, and I mean, the show overall, I respect doctors and I respect everyone in the medical profession. Your family, you got a big family of medical professionals over there. I know I couldn't do it for a variety of reasons. Like, I just couldn't, and I am thankful that there are people that can.
So, little background for you. Alex Karev was originally not even in the pilot. He was added to the script after they already shot it. So they had to like digitally like put him in.
Interesting.
After the fact.
Because they loved him so much. Why did they jump through those hoops?
Well, they just added him to the script afterwards. I don't know if his character wasn't there or what, but like they just didn't have him as a character period until after they filmed the pilot. And then they're like, you know what? Something's missing. And then they added him and his character. I get
that because you need a little more, you need the bad guys.
You need like the clashing.
Right.
You do.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when they were casting all these characters, they kind of did like they didn't type cast. They didn't write up like what the person should look like. And they didn't have any race in mind. They just wanted to go for the best person for the job, except for Bailey, Miranda Bailey. She's the little short doctor. But she's just like full of gumption and sass. Yeah. They actually did have a person in mind. Like they wanted someone blonde and like with like bubbly curls and bouncy curls. But then she ended up reading and they were like, nope, that's her.
Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool.
That's cool. I like that. So many fun facts.
What do you want to talk about now? I've seen this episode so many times. I know. I could talk about any part of it.
I mean, I also thought I liked the approach the pilot took too, where it's like the pilot is starting, it's new show for everyone, and it's like a fresh start for them. So this is like the start of their residency. So it's like the first 48 hours, how crazy it is, what's going on. And I liked that they kind of kept that timeline where it's like, this is it. They're just awake now for the next 2 days and look at the amount of things that happen in it. I liked that approach to like kicking off a show.
That was a good way to do it. And I feel like, I don't know, something cool, like seeing that being students, like they don't really know what they're doing. So you get to see like how they start. And then assuming that the show continued, which it did, you kind of see how they progress and where things end. Right. Now, what did you think when you saw McDreamy? Do we know that yet? I don't know.
I do, but yeah.
Okay, you saw Dr. Shepard and you found out that was her boss.
So I think because I knew he was McDreamy going into it, that wasn't a surprise for me. So I guess I did have a spoil. Like, I'm sure I will remember things here and there just from because I am big on pop culture. So
Yeah.
I have definitely
Osmosis.
definitely read things along the way or seen clips of things or whatever. So I know McDreamy, McSteamy, and like all of that. So it wasn't that big of a shock, but I did I like their little banter and their little staircase dynamic and her kind of being like no and him being like whatevs.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll see what happens. But I think she probably shouldn't have told anyone about that because that's not going to help you. Like your
Yeah.
mom is already a doctor. People already think you got handed
Mhm.
things. And then he asked you to be on the team for the surgery. It's all not helping. Just don't tell anyone that part.
I mean, I get that she had to tell Christina because otherwise it's like, well, why are you being so weird about it? Like,
Yeah,
why don't you want to do surgery with him? Why are
right.
you weird?
That's true.
But then he's like, oh, I can only pick one of you. Meredith, you want to scrub in? And then she doesn't say anything.
Yeah, that
And then
was
she
not
keeps
okay.
not saying anything. I'm like,
Yeah. That was your
okay.
opening to be like, oh, I think she should do it.
And then later she tries to like correct and she's like, no, Christina should do the surgery. It's like, maybe we could have said that like 5 minutes
Yeah.
ago.
Like, I'm not doing it. How about that?
Yeah.
But
How
maybe
about
that
that?
she felt like if I say I'm not doing it, then do I get a chance to do it again? It's a
Right.
very weird place to be in, I think, when
I
you're like
know.
given the opportunity. If you turn it down, do you get the opportunity again?
And all you want is to be in an OR.
Do you think, I mean, you came in on the second season for you, right?
Did. Yeah.
And then when did you watch the first season?
So this was back when we didn't stream things, but if you
Right.
wanted to watch something over and over, you had to buy the box set of the season.
Yes.
So I think my brother ended up buying it.
Mm,
And then he like came home for the summer or something. And then I watched it.
yeah.
And then I think like some Black Friday, I ended up just buying a few of the seasons.
Right.
So then that's when I did, because otherwise, like, when are you going to ever watch them?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too long afterwards because I think we all ended up really liking the show. And then I stayed pretty consistent. There are a few times, and you will experience this, where you get mad at the show
Sure.
and you want to stop watching. So I stopped
Mhm.
watching for a little bit because I got very angry at decisions that the writers made.
Yeah.
But then I always come back. I feel like this is a Grey's fans moral dilemma is we always come back.
Yeah. That
Even
makes sense.
even if we're reading like the cliff notes on Vulture the night
Right.
the episode finishes, we're always
Yeah.
there in the wings.
I get that. And then, so since you started with the second and then kind of went backwards, do you remember how you felt seeing the pilot for the first time?
Yes, I do. I remember being like, what? Because like a lot of things happen in the second
Yeah.
season. And
Mhm.
if it's out of context, you're like, oh, well, I feel a lot differently about Meredith or situations.
Yeah.
And then you watch the first season, you're like, oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense now.
Mhm.
And when we get to those episodes, I will explain. But yeah, it just made a lot more sense after I watched it.
Yeah.
And then you feel differently. That's why you have to watch these things in order. Okay, so at the end, when you
Yeah.
found out that Meredith's mom,
Yeah.
winner of 2 Harper Averys.
Oh, wow.
I know. What is a Harper Avery? Well, we're not really sure right now. Has Alzheimer's. How'd you feel?
So I liked that because I was wondering with her basically telling the story throughout the episode and you're hearing her voice and there's a voiceover and all that. It's like, okay, so is it just one of those shows where you hear somebody telling the story, it doesn't fully make sense, but you just go with it? But I kind of like that really in the end, it was her telling her mom all the stories of what happened in the last 48 hours. I liked that. I'm a little sad that like knowing what a major, what do I want to say? I don't know the word I'm looking for. I'm blanking. But just how big of a doctor her mom was and the impact she made on everyone. And now that it seems that she's forgetting a lot of it, like that's going to be a sad journey to watch because I'm sure that's only going to progress and we're going to see that along the way.
It's such a bummer.
Yeah.
It is. It does get, yeah. I can't share anything. I'm like, okay, I'm changing the subject. More facts. Okay.
Yes, more facts.
So, Shonda Rhimes originally wanted to set Grey's Anatomy in her hometown of Chicago. She's like, ER's in Chicago. I feel like I want to give it some distance. Yeah. And so that's why she did a town like Seattle, where the show was set. Yeah. Another thing is that when they are doing surgery, not only do they prep the actors by giving them a ton of information about the surgery. In fact, I think Isaiah Washington, who's Burke, he actually would like learn the surgery that he was going to do. But they used like cow organs and fake blood and like chicken fat and jello. Like they used like real like animal organs.
No.
And apparently it smelled really, really bad. And especially when they needed to use like the cauterizing, like the cauterizer. I don't know what it's called.
I have that up my nose, so I'm familiar.
Yeah, it would like when they'd have to cauterize things, it would smell like burning flesh. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So gross, but like also like
that's so meta. Oh, we still don't know if that's correct.
Do we use it right? Is it really meta? Is it? I don't know.
That's kind of crazy. That makes sense about ER, and I'm trying to think, and I don't know that we have this fact check available right now, so maybe we'll have to research this one. Was this like the next big medical show after ER? Was this like the first one? I mean, there's just been so many since then, but like
was House around that time?
Yeah,
I feel like House was like the same time as that.
Yeah, let me IMDb House.
I'll share another fact while you look.
Yeah, do that.
So Sandra Oh, who plays Christina Yang, she had originally auditioned for the part of Bailey, but she was in a phase of her life where she was starting to ask for what she wanted. So she asked if she could audition for Christina Yang. So she read the part and then she got it. And in my opinion, she's like completely perfect for it. And now she stars in her own show, Killing Eve. She's come so far. We're so proud. She was also in The Princess Diaries.
I love the tie-ins.
Principal Gupta.
House was 2004. Grey's Anatomy was 2005. Interesting. I didn't realize that came first.
So one of the reasons the show was even created is because Shonda Rhimes, I think, and her sister, but I know Shonda for sure, they were obsessed with surgical shows on the Discovery Channel. And her idea for Grey's Anatomy came when I think maybe a doctor on the show, or maybe a doctor she was talking to, I don't remember that part, was talking about how hard it is to shave her legs in a hospital shower. And it just kind of made her think like, oh, like doctors have real lives, and like I want a show about how hard it is for a doctor to shave their legs and fit in that kind of stuff. And then her idea for Grey's Anatomy was born.
That's interesting. Also, props to the doctors that are shaving their legs in hospital showers, because that means you're shaving your legs way more than I do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, when did I do that last? Hang on.
Because like if I'm doing like a 48-hour shift as a doctor, I don't know that I'd be caring.
Feeling my legs, it's been a while, so shout out to those doctors.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Holding things down in the hygiene area.
Way to go, guys. Way to go.
You're the real MVPs.
Love it.
Nobody knows where they might end up.
Episode 2. Just going to read a little synopsis for you. Basically, Dr. Burke, Preston Burke, is like, why am I not the next chief of surgery? And Dr. Weber's like, well, let me count the ways. And Derek helps a victim, a potential victim. She ended up like kicking her person's butt, and in the process bites off his peen. So then that means that Meredith has to like carry it around in a little cooler all day and night. And I mean, those are kind of like the really big things of the episode. How would you feel about this episode?
Okay. General overview of now having watched 2 through 5. 1, I feel like this show, so far at least, I feel like a lot of medical shows concentrate on the cases that are going on in the hospital.
Mhm.
And there's heavy focus there with each patient, what's going on. Also, let's get the entire hospital involved on solving this case, which I would like to know, does that happen in real life? Like, God forbid I got myself into a horrific, unusual situation where I had some random thing. I want every doctor in that hospital figuring it out for me, but I kind of feel like that's not real life. Can you speak to that from a family of doctors, Angela?
Okay, so here's the thing with that.
Yeah.
They kind of mix specialties, I feel, in TV
Yes.
shows
Mhm.
a lot.
Yes.
Like, why are there so many surgeons coming down to the ER and coming
Yeah.
down to the pit all the time?
Yes.
Why do they have surgical interns discharging patients when they just have a discharging person, like an
Yes.
admin person coming around with their little cart and their little stand-up computer doing that?
Yes.
And surgical interns bringing labs. I just feel like there's a lot of things that they're just giving them things to do so they can be in the right place in the right time.
Yes. for
Also,
sure.
you'll find out that these doctors have like side specialties, and you're like, no, your focus is this. Why are you doing way this?
Right.
Does not make sense. So, yes, it's very opportunistic for sure.
Yes. And I agree, Dr. Jacqueline, that was my second point. This show seems to be more about them than the patients. It's more about their
Yes.
lives and what's going on in them as doctors and their social lives and all of that kind of stuff. So those were my two umbrella points. But for this episode specifically, one, the first mention of McDreamy. It's the first time we are hearing McDreamy.
Yes, which
So
I
that's
spoiled
exciting.
last week.
But I knew, because how do you not know McDreamy? I
Mhm.
mean, are you living under a rock? But yes.
Right.
To your point of people mixing specialties and all that, you have Meredith and George going up to see all the babies in the nurseries to give them some endorphins to help them through their day. And
Mhm.
Meredith sees this baby turn blue. And you know what? Thank God she did. Thank
Right.
God she did. Because what is happening to that baby? He would have just gone home
I
and
know.
that would have been that.
I know. Yeah. So, and did she put her nose where she shouldn't have?
Yes.
Absolutely. But that other surgical intern, who's apparently just with babies only,
Mhm.
she thought that it was nothing. Which, if a baby is turning blue, I feel like parents who are not a surgical intern know that a baby's turning blue. That's not good. Even if
Right.
it's just a heart murmur, that's
Right.
just fine, benign. Like, your baby's turning blue. Like, we
Yeah.
need to get this figured out.
Yeah, that's not okay. And, she risked her career because she got in a little bit of a trouble, a little hand slap. But you know what? I would do that too. I would do it.
Yeah. I
So that's that. My low point of this episode was obviously the penis. One, because just like, ew, she's just carrying it around in a cooler the whole time. But also because of the storyline itself. And you have the victim who is laying in this hospital and she has no family and she just moved to the area and they can't find anyone for her. So that was really sad. And I am glad, though, that the guy ended up coming in so then they could get him because he deserves that. And he deserved what he got as well. So
totally agree.
So there's a high point at the end. But I mean, overall,
Yes. I mean,
it's a low point.
I mean, when Dr. Weber's little secretary, not little, she's great. She's in the show for a while. When his secretary was like, "Can I see it?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to see it too." But that's just not made for TV.
Right. That is not ABC brand. That's under the Disney umbrella. They could not be showing that.
No, I
way.
agree. Maybe FX.
Another high point, the kiss of McDreamy and Meredith in the elevator. That's a high point. And their little banter. You know what? I'm enjoying their banter at this point. I like it. Yeah.
It's cute right now. It is.
Yes, exactly. And I think the episode overall had the theme of like drawing lines, trying to keep like work people here, roommates here, family here. And obviously none of that is happening on this show. It's all mixed in and everything is jumbled. So
yes,
there's that.
Okay.
What did you think of this episode?
It's so funny because I've like seen these so much.
Right.
Okay.
See, you have, because I have like the fresh eyes, you have like the veteran. I've seen
Me
this
too.
episode 20 times. So,
And it's funny because like these episodes honestly just kind of jumble together.
yeah.
So I have to keep looking at the summaries and be like, no, this only happens in this episode. So I
Yeah.
can't move forward. I can't bring up something else. Low point was the potential rape victim. It just makes
Yes.
me sad and thinking that she's all alone. And
Mhm.
that whole thing just makes me sad. But the high point I thought was just kind of like her being like, no, I think there's something wrong with the baby. And then that attending being like, why are you here? And Burke's like, because I told her to be here. He like
Yeah.
swoops in and he's
Swooped
like, yep,
in.
let's get this taken care of. And baby's
Mhm.
my patient now. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on to the next episode, here's your Grey's fact of the day.
Yay.
You're going to hear this 3 more times. I feel, and I didn't fact check this, but I'm almost positive this is true, that Rob Lowe was supposed to be Derek Shepherd.
I can totally see that.
Right? I can too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like you would have done a good job.
Yes.
Would have done okay.
Mhm.
That being said, I do think that Patrick Dempsey did a really good job being Derek.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was supposed to be Rob Lowe, and I think he turned it down or something. But then we got Patrick Dempsey as we know it.
Mhm.
So that is your in between episodes fact.
I love
Next
it.
one. Episode 2. So
Yes.
there's a bike race called like the Dead Baby Bike Race. Horrible name.
Mhm. Mhm.
And a lot of people are hurt. One's left brain dead. One, sexually assaults Meredith by kissing her without her permission.
Correct. Mhm.
And then, but then it's the whole story of like Christina and Izzy trying to find out who the brain dead guy is,
Yep.
his family, and then getting his organs harvested.
Yes. Mhm.
And I thought that this was kind of a good one for Christina because she really isn't a people person.
Yeah.
She's kind of just like there for the job.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's the extent of it. I don't even know other people's names, like whatever. But this kind of forced her to be in that uncomfortable position of like a lot of emotions.
Mhm.
And then accept when she couldn't do a good job and defer to Izzy, but then also kind of sit in the uncomfortableness and push through.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. And what did you think of the episode overall? You go first this time with the veteran eyes.
What did I think of it? Okay, again, I mean, it's not my fave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next few are not my fave.
Yeah.
A lot of Derek being like, come on, go out with me. And her being like, why? No.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you pushing so hard? And then her being like, it's the thrill of the chase. My high, though, and I think this is the episode when doesn't she like push Alex into a bunch of lockers this episode?
Is that this one or the next one?
I think it is this one.
Yeah, it is this one because in the next one, then that's the sexual harassment with Izzy. So it's like 2 episodes in a row with him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank God for character evolution is all I can say. What'd you think?
Okay, so let's see. So my high point was the idea of believing in miracles because that was said in the episode. And it was interesting to see like the progression, the ribbon that is someone who is donating organs versus someone who is receiving them and how it affects both families and how it affects the doctors representing both. I thought that was a pretty interesting take on it. I have my other high point as the McDreamy banter, of course. But one of my low points was the wife of John Doe when they brought her in. I just felt like you're coming in and you're finding out your husband is brain dead. I didn't feel it from you. I didn't feel what I would feel. And I just felt like it was more of like is there any chance? No. Okay. Right. I don't know. And then later they're talking about like which organs she's agreeing to donate with her like young daughter there.
In the room.
This is traumatic. I don't know if I agree with this. Of course, this is just me nitpicking the episode a little bit, but I just, I worry about the trauma.
So as far as like casting, acting wise, you are unimpressed. And then secondary, having her daughter in the room.
Yes.
Oh, can we take your dad's skin? Is that okay?
Like, why is she in the room?
Can we like bring her to a social worker, please? This is
Exactly.
Yeah. Can we just turn on something for her? No. I agree. I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, I would not want her in the room for this.
No. Also, I feel like this. Well, you're already seeing it. This is episode 3. You've already seen it, and it like hits a point here, and it continues the next few episodes where you kind of are like, poor George. Like he's just easy target, basically. You know, like he's the one that everyone's kind of taking a little bit of advantage of. Also, kind of like brushing off. Also, kind of disrespecting. You know, like so. It's just like poor George. Also, I have here Real World House, because that's kind of what Meredith's house has become with all the doctors moving in, and a bonus finding out George likes Meredith.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was just like bloop. We're not gonna talk about it anymore.
Oh, like this is all new for you.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I need to catch up on these comments here.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. George has a thing for Meredith.
That's right.
Just keep that feather in your cap, okay? Keep it there.
And I feel, you know what's so funny is as I'm watching the shows, things are popping back into my head of like, oh, I remember hearing something about something, but I don't remember the details. But just along the way that I'm like, doesn't this happen? I don't know. I feel like maybe all of that kind of stuff.
Just you wait.
Okay. Oh, does it get talked about a lot? Oh.
Oh, it's so fun for someone who hasn't watched. I'm just like, wow, I get to share this. Okay. Well, speaking of George, so Shonda Rhimes, you know, she created the show and many others.
Yes.
She knew these characters so well that she's the one who like stocked their lockers. So I have my notes here because it's just easier to read off of them. So for like in Meredith's locker, she has a stack of old birthday cards that she planned to mail but never got around to. And she has like 3 alarm clocks because she's afraid of oversleeping. George, his contents kind of come from fear. So he has like old textbooks and journals and stuff like that. Izzy for sure has a lot of snacks because she feels like if she's like nourished that she has the energy for everything and to work. And then Christina has things like a Palm Pilot, LOL, that has like the latest research articles. And then she has like high heels to go out in after work and then condoms because you never know.
I love it.
So, and then that's how she kind of uses them to write their stories, is just keeping those little details in her head about the characters. Like it was really important for her to remember when she was writing for Burke that his mom owned a restaurant. And then it kind of just affects how she writes for him.
Interesting. I like that. I love these little fun facts. I'm all about behind the scenes. I'm all about it. So I love it.
Okay, so next episode, which would be episode 3?
4?
3? 4? 4.
4?
4.
Yes.
Okay. Episode 4.
Yeah.
So Christina ends up getting Meredith's mom, her former scrub nurse.
Yes.
So Alice Gray's former scrub nurse. And that really affects her. It just does. And then poor George, again, kind of getting crapped on. Izzy and Meredith are just treating him like another girl in the house. And it's really kind of emasculating him and goes kind of over to Izzy's storyline between her being a model and then a patient who used to use her photos. So that is what that episode's about. I'm like, what can I say during a live stream? I don't know. So how did you feel?
Okay, I felt like this was the first episode that made me verklempt. You know, I I am one. I cry at game shows. I cry at movies. I'll cry at commercials. I cry a lot because I'm so emotional. I'm unemotional until silly things like that happen, and then I cry. This Is Us. I cry every episode. Anyway, so this is the first one that made me verklempt, and I think a lot of that had to do with Liz, who is a scrub nurse, because I think a lot of her story, that it was an emotional story. She had worked at that hospital. Everyone at the hospital knew her. She came there so that she would have the best care in her final days. Like, all of that is very emotional. There's also this tie to Meredith and her mom. Then when Meredith goes to visit her mom, she's showing all these pictures of her childhood and her dad, and she has no memory. But then as soon as she starts talking about Liz, she remembers right away. So there's just a lot there that I felt a connection to her. I also felt like this is the first episode where Christina is kind of coming out of her shell a little bit. And because she is usually so straightforward and not the bedside manner doctor you call in, she's like the straight shooter. And this one, though, she's all in and is really like trying with this patient, even as she has the DNR and she's trying to save her still and all of that.
So that's what I love, though, is like Liz Fallon, is that her name? Liz kind of calls her out, though. Like, she's like, I know your type.
Yeah.
And just because you don't remember someone's name, it doesn't mean that you're a bad doctor. It's just there's two types of doctors. I know this. Yeah. And then she's like, I want surgery. I want surgery. And once you realize there's not going to be surgery, I just feel like it just like changes her whole perspective. The whole, like, you're not there to save someone.
Yeah.
They're there to die.
Yeah.
And it just like kind of messes her up a little bit.
It would mess me up a lot.
Did you catch the little thing between her and Burke at the end?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's in my notes.
How are you shipping them?
Okay, so do I have that in my notes specifically? No, but I see it. I see it developing. I see the eye connections happening. I see the emotion behind them. I see them. I see it. I see it swirling, but you see it more than the next episode. Also, this episode kicks off of just like waking patients up in the morning to check in on them, which just gave me flashbacks, because if you have ever stayed in the hospital, you know you don't get a good night's sleep. So really, getting woken up in the morning, like, it doesn't matter. You woke me up 10 times during the night to check my vitals.
I was up an hour ago. What's the difference?
That's the worst. Let's see. Oh, so Izzy, because this is the big episode with her where she gets sexually harassed, and her pictures end up all over the locker room. Why is he not fired? Why is he not fired by now? We are 4 episodes in. He should be fired for sexual harassment. These are 2 people that have gotten sexually harassed now, but also it was 2005. So
I know, that's why.
That's why. That's why. Exactly. But because she was a model, of course she was. I mean, I think anyone watching from the beginning and knows she was a model was to assume she did it to pay for medical school because she wanted to be a doctor. And she kind of says that by the end, like, I'm out of debt. You're not. So what up? But I also feel like she's going to feel like she needs to prove herself more. But isn't everyone? Because Meredith has the following in the footsteps of her mom. George has 007. Everyone's proving themselves in some way. And I think this is very much Izzy's. She's just going to have to prove herself more that this is not who she was. This is what she did to get where she needs to be.
Well, and that is a stigma that, I feel is and was out there. You know, that if you're a model, you're based on your looks and your body, and no one really cares what's in your brain, but she is proving the opposite. And that was really nice to see on TV.
A few more points on this, if I may.
Absolutely.
So also, I didn't love the whole, like, because this is more about Izzy being sexually harassed, the whole, she has a patient who doesn't want anything to do with her as a doctor because he fantasized about her through the magazine, and he doesn't want her in the room as he gets emasculated, if you will. And I just felt like, I just don't love this whole thing, because that's not her problem. She's a doctor. That's your problem. Get over it. Like, I don't even like, and then what? You're trying to make her feel bad?
But you did.
I don't like that. Don't like it.
It's your fault that you posed in your underwear, and I did this to you.
Yes, exactly.
So you can't be in my surgery. And then she felt bad about it and was like, Dr. Bailey, I really shouldn't be in there because I posted my underwear for him to look at me. It's like, no, that's so messed up.
Correct.
But again, guys, this was 2005-ish, so I guess things have changed, and this was a pretty, forward-moving show at the time. But
yes,
still,
and the misogyny in the OR with that older doctor, who I'm assuming you probably don't even see much of because you haven't seen him yet. He's this random older doctor that came in for this one surgery, and that's it. And he was very misogynistic, and all of it, and it was gross. And get him out. No. Jorge and his wife, they chose more years instead of less years, but more memories. And I think that was kind of emotional too, because this whole nail gun incident was a blessing in disguise to see that he had a tumor, which he needed taken care of and all of that. But, that is an emotional, real thing people have to choose and try to figure out for themselves and all that jazz. And the show ended with a real date between Meredith and Derek, which was lovely.
So things are finally progressing there.
Yes.
Yeah. It was big. It was a big end. Okay. Last episode. Okay, I'll share my last fact. Why not? Okay. Bailey's name was originally supposed to be Deborah.
I don't like that.
Deborah.
I don't like that for her.
And she was supposed to be like sassy and spunky. And
didn't you say she was going to be like this blonde-haired woman?
With curly, bouncy, curly blonde hair.
No, that's
not Deborah. I'm Deborah Bailey.
I don't love it.
No, we got the boss-ass bitch, Miranda Bailey. Yeah. Can you not say that? I did.
We did. So we did it.
It's live. Okay, so this last episode, Meredith realizes she could be sued for making a mistake during surgery. And she's still hiding her mom's secret. George finds a towel in a patient's chest cavity.
That's my low point.
Izzy throws a party.
Yep.
And then Bailey catches Meredith and Derek taking a joyride with each other.
Yes, joyriding. So, all right, I talked a lot. I feel like I went through a lot of notes in the last one. So tell me your thoughts on this episode.
I mean, I love your notes because, again, how many times have I seen these? Okay, but my favorite episode of the 5 so far.
Yeah.
Very fun. Very fun. I like how towards the end, Meredith's like, what is happening? My house is a wreck. All of my Tiffany lamps. And then she's like, you know what? I don't give an F.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just going to drink my tequila and just go with it.
Yes.
And I kind of wish that I could be like that. And just you try to control, you try to balance all and juggle all the balls. And then you're like,
yeah,
screw it.
Yep.
I want to be more like that moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think you should just do it. You're at your parents' tonight.
Liberating.
Sit up on the coffee table. Just do it.
You know what? Let's just dance.
Come on. Your parents probably have some liquor laying around. Grab a bottle and just do it. Get Mama Terry up on the table. She had her vaccine today. She'll be fine.
I'll just have another Disney Springs moment where I had one drink and then was hula hooping in the middle of Disney Springs.
I love it.
It's just really looking forward to it. So it's just really fun. She's just whatever. Things happen. It's been a day. With or without alcohol, that's always just just let it go. Let things go. The towel thing, not good. I know Christina was really stressing about that because she's like, oh, I may or may not be into this guy, but I also look up to him because he does heart things, and this is really serious.
Yeah.
And then between what happened with Meredith and Derek at the end and Bailey seeing, first of all, very funny. She called it a tail wag, and I laughed. I don't know. It remains to be seen how that's going to be handled.
Interesting. So yeah, the main storyline of this episode is, adulting is responsibility, and why do we have to be adults? And it's way overrated. I agree. Same, Meredith. Same. So now we have kind of the culmination of Burke and Yang. I see Dr. Jacqueline, you're like, why are they together? I also feel like within 5 episodes, there are a lot of shenanigans happening at this hospital. There are a lot of people coupling up in various ways. Is that what goes on?
They have a lot to prove in this season 1.
Yeah.
If they want to get a season 2, things
Yeah.
have to be dramatic.
I know you need a lot of cliffhangers, a lot of ooh, what's gonna happen over here? Oh, well,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I literally have a towel and a patient with exclamation points and question marks.
I know, like, how does that happen though?
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Is this whole Izzy has a boyfriend thing, who we haven't heard about until episode 5?
Hank.
Do we ever hear about him again?
A, no, you never hear about him again.
Holla.
B, hi Frankie. C, I'm pretty sure that when they're doing surgery, they count every sponge, every towel, and make sure they have it. So the fact that a towel even got lost, I'm like, how would this happen? This is just sloppy work.
It's gross. It's very gross. Okay, but we do see Hank again?
No.
Oh, we don't see him again. Okay,
No,
that's what
he's
I thought.
gone.
Okay, so here's what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Izzy not being fair to her boyfriend, more to that story, or a random blip in the storyline so she can have a breakup story. So I figured like that was just it. It's like, oh yeah, she had a boyfriend. We haven't heard about him for the first 5 episodes. Here he is. There he goes.
And you'll never
like,
hear about him again.
Right. It's like, what was the point of him? Why was he there? And she wasn't into him. I don't understand.
I feel like maybe it further separates her from her model life.
Right.
And maybe like gave her and Alex a reason to like spend some time together during the brain surgery.
Right.
I don't know about the second part. That's just me guessing. But yeah, I think it was just like to show how much she's changed and how serious she is from her old life.
Right.
I think that must be the whole point of it. But yeah, it's like, why are you here? We don't have room for hockey players in this episode.
Yeah, there's why? What's the point of you? And then she threw a party because she doesn't want to hang out with you. She doesn't want to be with you anymore. And then she has resentment because she thinks you only like all her model friends. It was just weird. It was just it's just filler. It was just.
It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I get that.
Nobody knows where they might end up.
Episode 6 of season 1. Mm-hmm.
If Tomorrow Never Comes.
Yeah.
So, summary, all the interns are in awe when a woman comes in with a record-breaking tumor, and basically it's not good for her. Bailey knows about Meredith and Derek, which was ended very embarrassing last time we left off on this stream. And yeah, she's not happy with Meredith. Meanwhile, Christina and Burke, they're going through the gigs together. And then Izzy has to perform some major operation on her own because Alex didn't put batteries in his pager. I mean, just typical. Standard. Anyway, so how are you feeling about Grace so far, Jen? Like, do you feel like you're a convert yet?
I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm getting into the characters. I'm starting to have feelings about them where I'm like, I'm just really annoyed by you, or like, oh, this is interesting, or you seem to be growing as a person. There's different things happening. So I feel the attachments are forming.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. And that's at the end of one season.
Right.
Okay. That's about on time, I'd say. Yes, continue.
So, I mean, maybe we'll start with Dr. Jacqueline's point here about Alex. I have written down another episode where Alex should be fired this time. I mean, like, why he's bad-mouthing a patient. There's more sexual harassment happening in, like, wherever he is. You like what you see. It's just stop, especially in the locker room. Why is this chatter happening? And then you're bad-mouthing the patient. Why are you still have a job? I don't understand. You've been a resident for 6 episodes and you've done a lot of horrible things and you need to go. And I know you don't go, but you need to go.
It only gets worse as far as doctors getting away with things that they shouldn't. So like, if that's something that you're going to get annoyed by, like maybe we just shouldn't be doing this.
Maybe we shut it all down now because every episode someone does something they shouldn't be doing, which I have caught on to. And the whole, first of all, okay, or my 10th of all, I don't know what I'm up to with Alex. So you have a low battery on your pager. okay, but you and Izzy were supposed to be in one area of the hospital because the big surgery was going on, right? So it was supposed to be you guys handling it all. Why, as a responsible adult who wants to be a doctor, are you then sitting in watching the surgery? You just assume nothing's happening and you're not getting paid? Like, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you go check in and be like, this is kind of weird. I haven't heard anything. Let me go make sure everything's okay.
I know, like your whole job is to run around as a surgical intern and do all the scut work, and you're just wondering why you're free for 3 hours.
Right. Yeah,
straight.
exactly. You're just hanging out. What are you doing?
know.
Yes,
Yeah.
not changing your pager battery is also not an acceptable excuse. That's on you. Fired. Agreed. Agreed.
But
On
we
top of the sexual harassment that no one has brought charges against you for.
But I mean, it just kind of shows another like scuzzy move by Alex, how he's so nice to the patients, he can get on the surgery, and then he gets himself in trouble with that intercom.
Yep.
She calls him out on it.
Yep.
Is it the end of this episode that we find out that Christina's pregnant?
I think
Or
it's
is
the next,
the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so we don't know that, so we're not ready to
Spoiler.
talk about it yet.
Right.
Spoiler.
So yeah, and then Dr. Bailey knowing about the McDreamy fling and how that's playing into it, and it's her problem now, and all of that. And I think the main because every episode has a theme to it. So this theme is the whole not doing things out of fear and is knowing better than wondering. I mean, I feel like we could just tangent and spiral about that for a while. Is there a fun fact for episode 6?
There is, because there's really not much to say about episode 6.
Yeah.
So we'll just transition along. Okay. So when Shonda Rhimes was speaking to Oprah, she was saying that Bailey is a little bit based off of her mother. Her mother's very no nonsense. Bailey says stuff like, these people are nasty. All they think about is sex, blah, blah, blah. And Shonda Rhimes' mother is definitely like that, and definitely more of a realist, kind of like Bailey.
Nice. All right, good. Nice little. I love the fun facts. They're my favorite.
Literally Googled it like 20 minutes ago. So, okay. So then we are on to episode 7, which is called the self-destruct button. And this is where Christina discovers that she's pregnant. She hasn't been feeling good all day. She thought she had the flu, but Burke's like, well, I'm fine. You didn't get it from me. George finds out that the anesthesiologist has been drinking on the job and has to tell Shepard about it. But there's kind of more to that, because Izzy and George also find out that the person that Meredith is sleeping with is Dr. Shepard as well. So there's like a kind of what's the word? I can't think of the word. Anyway, there's some stuff there. There's some tea.
Yeah.
Izzy's mad at Meredith about it. And it's just, I feel like there's just like a lot of drama surrounding this episode.
I enjoyed George saying when someone asks, is Dr. Shepard good? Meaning at surgery, he's like, at just about everything, because this is also when the roommates have discovered that McDreamy is in their house making a lot of ruckus at night with
Lots of ruckus.
Lots of ruckus. Yeah, in the beginning I had Dr. Yang Prego. Obviously that came to be. I also, this whole power dynamics thing. So I guess there's the whole code. You don't, question people above you in rank and all that kind of stuff. But I am sorry, if someone reeks of alcohol in the OR and there's a baby on the table, I mean, if there's anyone on the table, but there's a baby on the table, no.
You have to say something.
How do you not do that? And also, now why isn't that doctor fired? He sat there, he messed up the child. She started waking up. And then he's like, go get your stuff together. Like,
I know, that's what I always wonder. I'm like, he's like, go get together. I'm like, so does that mean like go get some help and like go to like rehab and like that? Or does that mean like get some
go wash your face? Like, that's ridiculous.
I know. I'm like, there was no follow-up with him, and we pretty much never see him again. So that always kind of bugged me.
That was annoying. I know he's one of those fleeting characters that like they appear in the OR, you never see them again. And I'm just like, but here's another doctor in this hospital that should be fired. I have a list going at this point.
I know. And is Derek gonna say anything? I don't know. The other thing I liked is when Izzy calls Meredith out and is like, "You have everyone's respect without even trying." Like, I grew up in a trailer park. I went to state school. Like, stereotypical wise, I'm being judged just for walking in the door.
Yep.
But you come from privilege. Look at who your mom is, and no one questions that you should be there. And like, you're doing this to yourself. You're making yourself look worse on purpose. Yeah. So she kind of called her out, but at the same time, like, neither of them can help that. Like, Meredith can't help who she likes. She's tried to resist. She can't help where she comes from. Izzy can't help where she comes from. But it's not fair that Izzy's looked at differently because of any of that.
Correct. Agreed. Yeah, I agree with this whole, like, you point out the problem, you are the problem. Exactly. No, that's not how the way the world should work. And unfortunately it does a lot, but I don't like it. Right. Yeah. I don't really, I'm not feeling good about it. Let's see, what else did I say? I mean, I did appreciate McDreamy like apologizing to George, but like, okay, but like what else is being done? And I know, obviously, I'm looking too into this. It's a show, whatever. It's more about them and McDreamy and George. They're the characters. This other guy is never even going to be on again, but whatever. I'm wondering about it.
Okay, question for you.
Yeah.
What did you think about Christina being pregnant? Were you like, oh, or were you like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw that coming. It's pretty, the writing was on the wall with that one.
True.
I think.
Yeah.
And I felt like at the end, you see Meredith and McDreamy actually go to sleep. It's getting real, guys. Don't mind the drag race apparently happening down my block. Things are getting real. They are actually sleeping.
Yes.
That's big. That's major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that honeymoon period is slowly dissipating.
Exactly. Is there an episode 7 fun fact?
Yes. Okay. I think I might have said this before, but I don't remember. Many of the show's storylines are based on real medical cases.
Right.
So so like when they're writing the story, the story writers, whenever they get to like a medical part, they'll just be like the script will say like, blah, yada, yada, medical. And then like they have medical researchers that will look for real cases. And then the writers team will spend hours poring over medical journals to find like good cases to use.
Right.
And then they'll also receive tips from fans. Like the fans will write in with medical stories that they've found. And sometimes that will make it on the show.
That's fun. We should submit some stuff.
Oh
first of all, your whole family should sit down and come up with all the stories that your dad has seen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I should ask him for any good ones. Like, have you seen anything really weird?
Yeah, I'm just taking some notes. It's not
like any like Dr. House type things.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a wrong show, but you know what I mean.
Whatever. It's all medical shows. It's fine. All right, episode 8.
Yes, we were just like going like right through. This is
I
good.
know. Oh, okay.
Episode 8. Episode 8 is called Save Me.
Yes.
Meredith and Derek grow closer. Alex and Burke argue and perform a risky procedure. Has to do with a heart. And then Izzy treats a psychic while Christina treats a pregnant patient. I mean, I didn't particularly think that this episode was super interesting. Again, keep in mind, people, that I have seen these episodes like 20 times.
Right. Yeah.
So, but, like, there are some episodes that I pay attention to and some that I'm just like, okay, like, I can scroll on Instagram while I watch this or do something else.
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of to be the setup to the finale of the season. Usually, like the second to last, like they're building everything up to really create those cliffhangers for the final episode. And yeah, I didn't really get that from this. I was kind of confused with like what was going on with McDreamy like throughout a little bit, because I mean, in previous episodes, he has been all like, no, we're still doing this. This is going to still happen. When she's been all like, we can't. He's like, nah, we're still doing this. And then there seemed to be more of like why don't you just go with the flow? Why do we need to figure it out? But then like at the end, it's almost like, no, this is a relationship, isn't it? Like, and there's a lot of kind of contradicting, I don't know.
No, I totally agree. Like this whole time he's been pursuing, and then it's like, but I don't actually know much about you. He's like, oh, well, why do we need to get serious here? Like,
right.
Let's back off a little bit, take a step back.
Right. So that was kind of weird. But then like at the end, then we see where McDreamy has been living and that he has all this land and all that kind of stuff. So we learned a little bit more about McDreamy. Not as much as we learned in the last episode, but we'll hold on that. Let me see here. The psychic. Are you a believer in psychics?
Generally not. There is one, I'd say, on YouTube that I'm like, wow, like you actually predict real things. But other than that person, I'm like,
I think you sent me that person, didn't you? Did you?
I did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, other than that one person, I don't know.
I think it can depend. I mean, obviously there are people out there who take advantage of situations, but like there's a part of me that believes that someone can pick up on enough energy, maybe.
Yeah.
I also have, once again, poor George. But I mean, really, is poor George even so poor until that last episode? I mean, it's still the whole season, every episode I can say poor George for various things.
Where are we at with George in this episode?
I don't even remember. I literally just wrote poor George.
I know. I'm like, what happens with George?
I think the next episode.
George. The next episode, George.
The next episode with George, I think, is the syphilis.
George,
but I don't think with this one.
George gets a date this episode, but we don't really know.
Okay, so yeah, right. But I think, I don't know, it was probably about the surgeries. I don't know. I always feel like there's just something, there's always a moment where I'm saying poor George. I need to be more clear in my notes for next time because I'm forgetting. Yes, he is definitely the puppy of the group. Like you almost feel bad and you also like start to second guess, like, is this what you want to do? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you really want to be a doctor, but you're struggling and you need you're just not getting it the way other people are getting it? I don't know. There's something though.
Well, he's treated like the underdog. He's the one that people seem to kick.
Mm-hmm.
Like they kick the dog in George a lot.
Yes.
It was interesting to see some doubt with Dr. Burke this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Normally he's super confident. He always knows the answers, but this time he really didn't. He's like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
Even though Alex found another solution with a bovine heart for the patient, who was an Orthodox Jew, which I thought that was really cool because you don't typically see that on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, Burke had a lot of doubt, and on top of it, like Christina just wants nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you want to talk or go to the on-call room? And she's like, get away from me.
Yeah. So that's also going on this episode because we see her trying to make an appointment for an abortion. Mm-hmm. And just avoiding him in the meantime, so he doesn't even know what's going on.
Which, I mean, back then, would you have really seen that a ton on TV?
Right. Probably not. What year is this?
Probably
so old in 2005.
Yeah.
But no, it's true. Yeah, probably not that much.
So, I mean, that was pretty, I'm losing my words today. I have a word in my head.
It's the drink.
I can't. Okay. I just want you to know it's not even half gone. So can we just relax with that?
But I mean,
maybe I want to say it's really revolutionary, but I'm like, that's not the word. What is the word? I don't know the word.
I think you're thinking of. Oh, I had it actually in my head.
And it's not 4 words.
And unfortunately, I gave you crap for the drink, and then I lost it. So karma for me
today.
Yeah, karma. I mean, every day is just my brain is mush. Do you have a fun fact for episode 8?
We're like, let's just move forward. Okay, well, this is my one. This is my last one, and it is kind of introducing the new character. So we've had a couple crossovers in Hollywood movies with Grey's Anatomy characters. Mm-hmm. So Patrick Dempsey, and then a character that will be introduced in season 3-ish. Kevin McKidd. They were in the movie Maid of Honor together.
Yes.
And then Sandra Oh and Kate Walsh, who we find out is Derek's wife.
Spoiler.
I know. They were a lesbian couple in Under the Tuscan Sun, which is like one of my favorite movies.
I love that movie.
One of my favorite movies ever.
Oh my gosh, so much.
I love it so much. But yes, you guys, I spilled the beans.
Yeah.
Episode 9, Who's Zooming Who? We find out that Derek is married.
Now, here's the thing.
Did you see this coming?
Well, it's one of those things I have said over the years. I've heard a lot of things. I'm into the pop culture. I'm into I would read magazines. I would watch the TV talk shows. So I feel like there's a lot in my brain. I forgot though, as I'm watching this throughout that he's married. But as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, right. Because then isn't there a spinoff of Private Practice after that with her? Yeah.
Yep.
So it was all coming back to me at that point. I was like, oh, right. I forgot that this was happening. Yeah.
Yes. So Derek was married. I started watching in season 2. So everything that happened in season 2, I felt differently about because I didn't know what happened in season 1.
Right.
So when I actually went back and I'm like, oh, he's married this whole time. Then I'm like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. It just kind of sucks. It sucks because, Meredith had finally decided to open up to him. She had finally, they'd settled into their little, coupling, sitting down for breakfast, and he'd been staying at her house, and they're just kind of having an actual relationship. And then, he's married and everything's changed now. And then poor George.
It's always poor George.
Gets the sif. Sex man. And from Alex, which of course it's from Alex.
I mean, obviously. A part of this episode that I enjoyed was a guest appearance by Wendy Davis, also known to me as Joan Burton from Army Wives. She was the wife that was pregnant of Burke's best friend.
Oh, yeah.
So I love her from Army Wives, so I was happy to see her. That's my other show I go back to when I just need to watch shows, because she on Army Wives is married to Sterling K. Brown. My boy. I love him so much.
Oh, he's so cute. Oh
I love him so much.
So
anyway, so yeah, I have down here McDreamy McMarried, because I think, the whole episode is about secrets, and then you see the chief find out, that
it's
they're
a brain tumor too.
Right? Yeah, it's like, you know what? I can see you, and that's not a great idea. You should probably not do that.
That's not how you treat colleagues.
Yeah. So there's, all these little secrets coming out here and there, more and more, and then the big reveal of, well, maybe you two shouldn't be doing what you're doing.
It was just a bummer, but it's such a good ending. And if you think about it, how this whole show started and how this was the end of the pilot season, how could you not offer an episode or a season 2 after that?
Right. Oh yeah.
That is a killer ending. And I thought of another trivia fact.
Oh.
I don't think that Ellen Pompeo, I don't think she knew the ending that Derek was married, but I think he only found out maybe the last episode he found out.
Right.
Or something. He found out before her, but I don't think either of them knew that he was even married. And I knew that he found out before she did. So it was kind of kept a secret even amongst the actors.
Right. And I love how he was like, I'm so sorry. It's about to get bad over here. I'm sorry about this whole thing. My bad. Hey, yeah.
Don't really know what to say here.
Yeah. But it's interesting that it was only 9 episodes because it's a first season. So, they got everything out quick and made sure to tie everyone up and who's with who and what's going on and all the drama to go into the longer season 2 with all the cliffhangers now. Because you never saw Christina go to an appointment. So what happens there? McDreamy's McMarried. So what happens there? There's a lot happening.
Yeah, I mean, okay, what's going to happen with George and Alex? I mean, Izzy and Christina kind of finished up their autopsy that was performed illegally. That was
Right.
kind of fixed. But we wonder about Christina, we wonder about George, we wonder about Meredith. So I mean, there's going to be stuff to look forward to for next season.
So my takeaways from season 1, I think would include, I think everybody dies. Not everybody. One person dies every episode. I feel like that's
In season 2 or season
no
1?
season 1. It
Yeah,
feels
no.
like someone dies every episode, and I almost feel like George was there having to tell the family for almost all of the deaths. But that's just me. Poor George. And I also feel that everyone could have been fired at some point. You know, Christina and Izzy are doing the illegal autopsy. They could have been fired for that.
Yep.
Obviously, Alex, every episode you should be fired. And you know what? There is not even like a good moral compass there that like Izzy and Christina were trying to do something good by doing something illegal.
No, it's
You are just a scumbag. So you gotta go.
It just happened to work out for them.
Yes.
They got lucky.
And I think Meredith is also going to have to figure out everything with her mom and what she's struggling with there. So I think there'll be more to come on that. Those were my takeaways, I think.
Yeah, it's so hard because I've seen it so many times that my brain just gets jumbled. It gets jumbled with like season 1 and season 2 facts.
Yes.
It will remain to be seen how Meredith responds to this and even how Derek does. You know, is he going to be happy that his wife's around? I mean, he's away from her for a reason.
Yes.
And what does that mean for their relationship with him and Meredith?
Yeah.
And then Christina, you know, she's aiming to have an abortion, but is she going to tell Burke about the baby at all?
Right. Will that come out at all?
And where will her relationship stand with him afterwards?
Yeah.
So you can follow us on Twitter at Magic Mom Monday, Instagram at Magical Mommy Monday. You can email us at magicalmommymondays@gmail.com. Jen is Jenillo, Jenillo on Twitter. And I am Angela Dahlgren on Twitter and Angela_Dahlgren on Instagram. And you can find Jen on Instagram at Dillo's Days.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, take care. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.